Since the start of the lockdown a year ago, maybe even before then in fact, I've grown very interested in walking everywhere. Now you know that already because I've made a few videos discussing that. But when I talk to people about it, just as when you talk to people about liking a certain, musician, you always get that question, oh, you like walking, do you? Well, name your favourite street then, will you? And I can. With Closely Observed World, I'm Christopher Walker. So when I first took up walking around Bielsko, the logical thing, of course, was to start by going up from my home, down that way, and seeing where my steps would take me. And when I came up the hill, I'd always been put off the hill actually because it's quite steep. I didn't really like the fact that it felt like I was having a heart attack walking up it. But when I came up the hill and past the big aqua swimming pool at the top just there, on the other side of the motorway flyover, when I came up there, I was treated to one of the most extraordinary views of anywhere in Bielsko, and immediately I fell in love with this street. It's a residential street, and it's the terminus, we could say, of the very long Langeviche Street. It's named for General Marian Langeviche, a 19th century military man, a patriot as he's defined, though he was born in an area of what was then Prussia, Posen, and died in Istanbul, so he had quite a career on his hands. Anyway, coming up this way, there's really nothing here, it's just some people's houses. There's no pavement or anything, so you're walking on the road, you've got to be aware of your surroundings because there could be a car at any moment, like there is here. But the cars tend to go quite slowly because they know it's not very safe. But I'm going to swing the camera around now. I'm going to show you exactly what it is that made me fall in love with this street. Now, it might not be so easy to appreciate given the scale of the camera, the wide angle nature of the lens, but walking along this short stretch, you can see the end of it down at the bottom there. Walking along here, it's beautiful, and it's one of the things I love about it so much is that you can come up here and it will be different depending on the weather conditions. So right now we've got a little dusting of snow up on the top of the mountains just here. Other times it would be very green, spring and summer. Autumn, you have the changing of the leaves, and it's really lovely. But I love the fact that I'm walking on a street that feels like it terminates down by the foothills of that mountain. You're walking into the mountain, and that's what I love about it. It's endlessly fascinating. It's a shame that there are no open air cafes here. That would be the cherry on the top of the icing of the cake. But there you go. In a previous video, I talked about what it was that had brought me to Poland, and I said that it was the people. And I should imagine that the first thought running through a lot of people's minds when I said that was, yeah, but that's fine, Chris. You met young professionals. Young professionals from most countries are quite nice because they're young professionals. They're educated, they read books, they watch films, they know English. But is that true of wider Polish society? Do you like them as well? And the answer, I'm glad to say, is a resounding yes. And I have a little anecdote about this particular street that will prove it quite conclusively. So last year, my wife was away, so I was looking after my girls for a few days, and I arranged to meet up with a great friend of mine, Emil. Now, Emil's a bit of a mountain explorer himself, and I wanted him to have a look at something in Bielsko that I didn't think he'd seen before, so I brought him up here. I think he was perhaps a little bit disappointed that we didn't go all the way to the top of that peak, but since I had Susie and Matilda with me, I think he was rather content still just to make it a nice walk. And we had our cameras with us. I'd been teaching the girls how to use cameras and to take photos. And we were walking along, taking photos of different flowers as we could see them through the fences. It was difficult to get close. You couldn't do any sort of macro photography. So anyway, we were walking past one of the buildings back there. A very nice old house with lovely detailing on the metal fence around it. And suddenly this window opened and this old lady leaned out. She must have been in her 80s. A classic Polish babcia. Now at first I thought that she was going to admonish me and the others for taking photos of her land. That sort of thing has happened to me in the past, but it happens to me. It doesn't really happen when I've got my girls with me. But no, she said, and Emil translated, but I got the gist of it. She said that if we liked, we were welcome to go into her garden to explore, have a closer look at things, and to take some nice photos. Of course, the girls were delighted at this prospect. They really jumped for joy in a very literal sense. So we went in and we spent a nice 10-15 minutes going around taking various photos. Some of the best that the girls have taken on their little cameras, actually. I was very proud of them for what they were able to achieve so early in their career as photographers. And Emil was there as well. It was just a lovely, lovely moment. And it was a little reminder of me that it really is the people that brought me to this country, and it's partly the people that's made me stay. So there we go, that's my little cute story. It was a small interaction, I suppose, but I was just so grateful that this lady saw my girls there, she saw what we were doing, and she wanted us to help. Or she wanted to be nice, she wanted to help us, really. Sorry, slip of the tongue. Thinking about that car behind me, if he's going to hit me. No. So yeah, this is Langeviche. I'm reaching the end of it now. If you listen carefully, you can hear the sounds of the wilderness. There's an owl or something cuckoo, birds tweeting. There's a little place here that has chickens, and they come out and they peck around on the ground. It really feels like I've entered the countryside. I've gotten away from the city. And when I go on my walks, there's really no greater feeling. So there you go. That is my favourite street in Bielsko. And if somebody happens to see this and thinks, ooh, we ought to open a cafe there, please do. And I'll come back every week, I promise. So, until next time, thank you very much. And goodbye.